questions of vested interests as far as dealing with land issues are concerned. And perhaps, Sophia, you'd want to contribute on this. When we talk about vested interests, you cannot possibly avoid politics. You've got some members of cabinet at this point in time who own land in the Mao, quote unquote, which in Dungaland report is clearly said was illegally acquired. Can you reasonably expect an institution like Parliament, or the government for that matter, to sort out this particular problem, given the performance of both institutions over the last 3 years?
And I must agree with you that there is vested interest in land, particularly when it comes to land ownership, management, and politics of the day. The problem we have had, and the reason that we are redefining ourselves this time, is because of the historical issues of land, the historical injustices, the corruption in this country, the unemployment, just like my brother has quoted for you. So we cannot say that there is no vested interest. There is a lot of vested interest, and we have a big challenge of addressing that.
Can Parliament rise to the occasion?
And this is the moment that we are trying to raise to the occasion by saying that we have various groupings in the Parliament as we speak now. We have the Parliamentary Select Committee on the Constitutional Review. These are 27 members, and these 27 members, majority are key on issues of trying to redefine the moment. They want to take this position so that the Kenyans, for once, can have a constitutional order in this country.
You have a special tribunal bill coming to House, and the only 9 MPs, you're one of them, who was in the House. The rest of your colleagues are out there.
We have a problem, and I do not want to run away from the problem. And I told you we'll have a challenge in facing and addressing issues in this country. But the goodwill and the reformers in that parliament, we must accept that there is a change that is going on in that parliament. And there are people who call themselves the light-minded constitutional review team. They are over 55. And tomorrow they are going to have a session outside this town. They have been looking at all the harmonized draft, chapter by chapter every day, and they have seen there is a lot of issues that they can agree on, and the issues that they are not able to agree on, they want to meet at a middle ground so that we can have the best. You know, politicians have major influence because they are representing people, and they are people, professionals. I met yesterday, we sat and we talked, and they told me, Madam, I told them, have you read the draft constitution? They told me there's no need of reading it because so and so is going to read for us, and he will tell us the way to go to. So even the professionals of this country also need to be involved in this decision, because it is ours, it's Kenya, it's everyone. And when everybody is brought on board, when everybody look at this and we agree on the principle of the reform, then we'll be able to address some of the issues. We cannot address everything in a go, but we have a long way. We have a big challenge ahead of us. But let me come to some issues that I wanted to address.
Very quickly, example, because we're almost short of time here.
Very quickly, the issue of food insecurity. Personally, I feel very painful when our president received food from Egypt because we have a drought. And Egypt is getting the water from our country. You look at Israel. Israel is exporting their fruit to this country. Then we have failed this country. The management and resource and administration of land was the major problem. And that's why people are asking, let's manage our land, let's administrate our resources, and let's have the central government supporting the devolved unit so that we can have a proper resource allocation for us to use our land properly and to produce a lot from our land.
Right. Well, we did ask you, of course, if you do believe that we are any closer to sorting out our land issues. That was our big question right here for you and Kate in Newsnight. The responses finally are in. Well, overwhelmingly, 82% of you think no, we're not any closer to sorting out that particular problem. 18% of you, however, do believe that we...
The most important thing I'd like to go away from this is we have very different views on land, land use, land management. No one here condones the impunity of those in power or in the past who've abused it, but different communities have got fundamental different views about land and land ownership. And land must be a contentious issue. To say it's not a contentious issue is naive. And if it's a contentious issue, let's take it out of Chapter 7. Let's just put the basics there. Bill of Rights deal with land. Let's put in protection of land and trust land. And then the rest we can flesh out through legislation or we can flesh out through common law. Thank you.
Wonder.
Thank you very much. Our national anthem says, God bless this our land and nation. The nation cannot be blessed unless we sort the land question. And what guides the country, the nation, is the Constitution. We cannot leave land out of the Constitution. We need to sort it therein, and the journey has just begun. And what I'm asking is, let us all Kenyans agree to live together, those who have and those who do not have, so that we bridge the gap, so that everyone has a share and access and they live some dignified life. Let us work it out. We can make our country be the star together. Thank you.
All right. Sophia?
For me, I think we have started very well. The harmonized draft constitution is good. We need to look at it. The committee of experts said that they gave the opportunity to Kenyans to look at it so that they can give them the feedback. This is the moment Kenyans need to give the feedback. If we have some issues, and for the committee of experts to look at it. So my appeal to Kenyans is that this is the moment. We have an opportunity, and the opportunity we have is to look at the harmonized draft. And let's give our feedback to the committee of experts, and let's live together. This is our country. There is nobody who is superior to the other. Everybody has a right on the ownership of this country, and we need to protect our country.
Lumumba, take us on.
I would basically say that given the vote of what Kenya said, I would say, if I was marking them, I would say they are correct. The issue is that we have a blueprint to reforms. We haven't yet started the reforms. And it's very, very important to know that the national land policy, which has been approved by the parliament, is due for implementation. We do not have a budget to it. We would urge our leaders to put money to that budget. But I must conclude by saying it would be foolhardy to ever dream that you can remove land from the constitutional setting and address it by legislation. There are over 70 pieces of legislation related to land, and they are so confusing that any lawyer of any substance has never known even how to manage those legislation. That's not the road to go. Kenyans need to sort out whatever is contentious within the constitutional framework. Remember that the provisions are not the ones which are contentious. It is the land, the manner in which it is managed, that is the contention. So I think that must always be ringing right in our heads. And basically, I will appeal to all Kenyans to make sure that all the elected representatives must put money to sorting out the land sector. It is much more meaningful than buying more vehicles, buying more privileges for a few representatives. It is high time that where the majority are is where much of our resources should go. Most of the Kenyans, over 70%, incur their livelihood from land. That is the sector. That is the issue to be sorted out if we shall prosper.
All right, well, you've certainly heard the comments from our panelists here tonight. Quick look at the weather before we return with a look at, well, Christmas carols from cats and dogs. All that and more is coming up. Huh? Right, well, that is your forecast for tomorrow. Now, as we wind up the show, as usual, we'll give you something a little light. It's not all doom and gloom and fist fights here on Newsnight tonight.